What's up guys, Omni here. You guys know how it goes, another day, another video. Last night I tweeted I sleep. What recent news, topic, tweets, videos you want me to talk about tomorrow? Hey guys, today is October something again. I've stopped paying attention to the dates and the times and the days, okay? They're all blending in at this point. As per usual, we have a lot of news to talk about. Okay, we got some updates with the stuff that happened with Twitchcon involving like Taylor Lorenz. Everyone's like jumping down her throat. We got a very strange update when it comes to Hasan. Ludwig has come into the picture, apparently you guys told me, and came to the same conclusion that I did. More on that one later. We got a few political updates, okay? Keep you guys updated on like the Trump administration and what's happening during this furlough, during the shutdown, and some other random things as well, like One Punch Man. I heard there's like one like really terrible episode. People are talking about season 3, which sucks because I actually cosplayed as One Punch Man, so I need this not to be a bad show. So we'll talk about all those things and more, all right? So you guys know the drill. Sit back, relax, put your feet up, and yeah, allow me to lay it on you. So you guys remember the nightmare that is TwitchCon, okay? The con where all the streamers go and they stream because they are all on Twitch. A lot of people saying that they absolutely was not having a very good time with it. And then we talked about how Emiru, one of the top female streamers there, was basically assaulted. And a lot of people blamed it on the fact that TwitchCon had some very, very poor security. Well, if you guys remember in last episode, we actually talked about Dan Clancy's response. He was interviewed by an interviewer by the name of Taylor Lorenz, okay? I keep hearing her name pop up for like the past 2 weeks. She's not been a journalist that I've been following for any kind of time, but heard her name in the background before, but she popped up mainly on my feed when we talked about Hasan, when she was basically giving that piece on him, which I felt like was a bit of a fluff piece, okay? It was inaccurate, and she was also, in my opinion, this is just what it is, I recognize as my opinion from observing it, you know, calling people like, you know, crazy or talking about mental health or saying that it's insane or conspiracy theories. And I was just basically saying I'm not a huge fan of how she reports the news. I don't really know her as a person or anything like that, but she's back. She interviewed Dan Clancy, and in Dan Clancy's small 2-minute interview, one of my biggest gripes with her was that it felt like she was basically softening the blow for Twitch when it came to Emmy. We were talking about Emiru and how she was assaulted, and I felt like we needed to, you know, dig deeper into Dan Clancy. He was giving us these non-answers, and it felt like she was being very soft on him, if not trying to, you know, make the thing look better by saying like, yeah, I'm a journalist, I was there, and I felt like security was super big, you know, so it I didn't like that one. A lot of you guys, when we were reviewing that, you guys also agree with me, you didn't like it. So we have a follow-up. Senna, who is a content creator as well, we talked about her as well, and she had something to say about Lorenz's 2-minute, 3-minute piece. I believe the full thing comes out today, so I will probably be streaming this evening if you guys want to watch the full Dan Clancy interview. Twitch.tv/InfernalOmni sometime this evening if you want to watch me live, because that's where it gets wild. But for now, since you're here, let's go ahead and watch what's happening with Senna.
To be honest with you, there were places it was really good, there were places it was lax. It's not as black and white as security is non-existent, and it's not as black and white as security is over the top, because both things were not true. I did see one journalist say, security was so strict, journalists couldn't even do their job. Girl, you know damn well, all right? Like, let's keep it a buck. You know damn well they weren't that strict.
So it's crazy too. Like, sorry, pause. It's interesting because like the part that bothered me wasn't the fact that Taylor Lorenz had an experience where things were strict for her. That wasn't my problem. My problem was the fact that Emiru literally got assaulted only a few hours in the first day of TwitchCon, high profile. And then she talked about how there was no security guards whatsoever in a place like a meet and greet where you would imagine there would be more because you had fans meeting the content creators. And then she also talked about how there were people or Twitch staff who were basically laughing in the background about the situation. Okay, so whether you had strict or not strict, okay, one of the main points here had to deal with the fact that you guys didn't have anything here. You failed at every single avenue when it came for Emiru, and then tried to push it back on Emmy and say, hey, you should probably mod your chat and your community better. And I'm getting a little mad already. Just thinking about it, I'm getting a little frustrated. A lot of you guys said, man, I like Angry Omni, okay? I'm in a good mood, man. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Let's not. No, let's not do that.
Okay, they did try to do better this year. You know damn well. Don't even try. I saw that. I said, yes. And what the hell were you reporting on the Twitchcon floor? You know what I mean? What were we doing? I said, there's no way. That's the same girl who got sued for doxing people on Twitter.
What?
Is that true? I don't want to be spreading false information. Is that true?
Okay, I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't want to be spreading false information. Okay, so I'll look into that for you guys to fact check. But yeah, I don't want to spread false information by spreading false misinformation. So take that one as a we don't know.
Did she really? Uh-oh, free address on Twitter, GG. Lorenz is a complete moron. You can safely ignore her. Well, I don't really know her, to be honest with you. I just saw that tweet and I laughed and I said, oh my God, you poor journalist. You had to get your wristband scanned and couldn't get into a private area, so you probably couldn't do your journalism. Like that, I just don't think that journalists were that restricted. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. Like, what are we talking about? Are we being so dead ass? It's like sometimes it just brings out the brain rot of people on Twitter, bro. I said, what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know. I don't know anything about her though. I have no idea if the other thing is true. So.
Okay, so she's probably reading some comments from chat. I'd have to look into that for you guys. Actually, I'll go ahead and look into it right now because that's a pretty wild accusation. It looks like it may be true. There's an article back in April 19th, 2022, and several other news websites talked about this well, saying Taylor Lorenz slammed as a hypocrite for doxing libs of TikTok creator. Lorenz, the former New York Times journalist who earlier this month broke down in tears on MSNBC while recounting harassment she experienced online, published an article on Tuesday revealing the identity of the social media user. Doxing is a term used to describe the act of posting the personal information of those who wish to remain anonymous. Critics accused Lorenz of hypocrisy after it was claimed that she showed up at the home of the woman's relatives to ask questions. What? Whoa. So somebody who wanted to remained anonymous and you showed up at their family's house, bruh? Reads here, the Libs of TikTok account, which posts TikTok videos from liberals, has generated more than 662,000 followers. Which of my relatives did you enjoy harassing the most at their homes yesterday? Read the caption, attached the photo of a woman who bears Lorenz's likeness. Glenn Greenwald, the Pulitzer-winning journalist, slammed Lorenz, tweeting, the same people who just 2 weeks ago were insisting that criticizing Taylor Lorenz is wrong because it generates harassment toward her are now cheering as she shows up at the homes of the relatives of Twitter users to dox them. You had Ben Shapiro in here saying that Taylor Lorenz is a terrible journalist and a worse human being. And yeah, everywhere I see, man, oh my God, the internet does not like this person, bro. I'm everywhere I go, people are saying, imagine a world where journalists weren't a POS. Taylor Lorenz epitomizes the phrase, to be quite honest. The crocodile tears gets every single ounce of asshole ripping that she deserved. Ethan Klein is in the mix as well, talking about her as well, saying anti-capitalist Taylor Lorenz cannot stop debasing herself to defend the dangerously negligent mega corporation Twitch/Amazon. Watch as this obedient lapdog LARPs as a revolutionary while serving the very power she claims to be against, a true masterclass in hackery. A lot of, oh my, does she have any allies, bro? Bro, at least with like a Collargate, bro, there was like Hasan and he had the goons and he had his little squad of circular goons and Taylor, like there was like factions, bro, like oh my God, everyone is dunking on her. Anyway, Taylor Lorenz, quote, replied to Senna and said this, okay? Very disappointing to see Senna repeat an outright lie. I was never sued for doxing anyone on Twitter. She's repeating nonsense from libs of TikTok fans. I guess she's saying that she never sued, but she did dox? I don't know. I mean, I just read the articles that we just saw. I have nothing against Taylor Lorenz, just looking up information, and a lot of people are confirming that she did dox this account and completely misrepresent what I said. Security was tight compared to other conventions. However, all the strict security in the world and all the police standing around or face scanning or whatever is useless when women creators are bombarded with misogynistic hate and abuse by registered attendees and sometimes from other big creators themselves. Okay. All right. Taylor, I hope you're watching this video. Homie, this is that whataboutism. This is that triangulation. I see it. I don't know if you see it, but I see it. Okay. We were talking about security at TwitchCon and people are saying that there was not enough security there. And now you're talking about misogyny. okay? Which is also a thing that is very rampant in the Twitch community and the world, okay? But to blame the lack of actual physical people on your site to take care of your creators and then adjust it to talking about misogyny, I feel like is literally the definition of whataboutism triangulation. Okay, I don't understand why Taylor Lorenz can't see that. I'm looking at this paragraph and I'm looking at this objectively. It is true that you cannot control misogyny. All right, it is true that there is a thing with neon and there's a space where incels and people exist and they dunk on women nonstop. I know that. We all freaking know that, okay? That still has nothing to do with not hiring enough proper people on site to be in certain places in order to dissuade people like the guy who came and attacked Emmy, okay? And this is the problem. Come on, keep it together, Steven. Keep it together, okay? Let's just read. We're just reading. It is a reality that security was so tight that journalists, many of whom cover conventions all the time, had a hard time getting around. I even found it difficult one day because my wristband wouldn't allow me on the floor. That is simply a fact. So again, sorry, Taylor, again, I'm glad that you're giving that your account, right? But we're not talking about your account. It's one of those situations where she does this too as well, where she talks about her account. With Hasan, for example, as a part of her journalism, she said, I've seen the dog. She seems like very happy, and I don't think anything would ever happen to her, right? She would be inserting her point of view in terms as a journalist, right? As opposed to just reporting the news objectively. She puts herself into it, and then she uses, her experience as a topic, right? Which is fine, okay? But the point here is that your good experience with security does not nullify her bad experience with security. And the point is that there was not enough security, okay? So just because security was tight for you as a journalist was not tight enough overall, okay? That we can't use your own experience to offset other people's terrible experience. And I'll also show you guys later as well. There are clips on clips on clips about people talking about just walking through the line, not scanning their badges. There's one clip with Neon where he just walks up to the front and says that he's somebody that he's not, and then he gets put into somebody's booth. Literally just, hey, I'm the guy that's supposed to be here, let's go, and literally just walks right through. No ID verification, nothing. Overall security not tight, and definitely not tight enough to prevent multiple things from happening that people are reporting. I feel like this is not taking into consideration the full thing. She's only taken into what she experienced, and then she's blowing that up. I'm making a longer video on this with another journalist who covers gender-based violence. It's okay if Cinna is not familiar with me or my work, but repeating garbage libs that talk conspiracies about me on stream also leads to harassment and threats. The reason I toured Twitch's security center and was interested in covering this angle, even before what happened to Emerald, is because I've read extensively about harassment of women creators and media figures. It's a core part of my beat, and it has been over a decade. Okay, I deal with doxing, swatting, stalkers, and had someone paying people on Craigslist to follow, videotape me outside my house. 2 men traveled to TC specifically to stalk and harass me. I get a steady stream of misogynistic hate from stupid influencer fans while trying to do my job. For all these reasons, okay, I care about what actually makes all creators, but especially women, safe. She's calling these people, okay. I find it interesting, and I think a lot of this I have no problems with what she's saying, but here I just find it a little bit interesting because I think this is also the same Taylor Lorenz that we're talking about that appeared at another person's family's relative's home, right? Which is a little creepy in my opinion as a journalist. That's my opinion. Continuing, for all these reasons, I care about what actually makes all creators, but especially women, safe. Twitch's tight security protocol shows that tons of cops standing around, wristbands, etc., aren't going to fix the core issue, a culture of misogynistic hate directed at women. See, no, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you. This is deflecting blame. This is taking the accountability off of Twitch. You are loosening the noose of Twitch, and you are trying to shift the narrative and saying that this has to do with a culture of misogynistic hate. And I don't like that. This does not sit well with me because you are diluting the actual core issue, which was there was not enough protection. Period. Anyway, she says, I'll get into all this piece, but the man who assaulted Emerald should have never been allowed to leave. Yes, then that would have not happened as well if there was enough security. Creators should have been behind tables with security on both sides, among other things. But to implement proper security, they need to acknowledge the core problem. No. We don't. No one has to address the core problem of misogyny. What do you mean? Everybody knows it exists. There's not somebody out here who's like, misogyny is just not real. There's no such thing as a man that hates women. There's no such, we know. That's like saying that racism doesn't real. You don't have to acknowledge that misogyny is real and a core problem for you then to take measures into hand. This is, again, my whole point. Oh my God, I'm getting livid. People said they didn't feel safe. They gave the CEO a heads up. They said they're not sure if they're going to come here and they don't feel good. And Dan Clancy said it was his highest priority. So people said ahead of time why they didn't feel safe, and it still was not safe. I don't like this. Note the accounts that are pushing this clip, by the way, these accounts are weaponizing an attack on a woman streamer to further an ongoing misogynistic hate and harassment campaign against me for my reporting on gender-based violence. Nah, I don't know, Taylor. I don't agree. Got nothing against you, homie. I don't agree with your take on this. Lorenz also had said this as well. She's been very vocal about this TwitchCon incident, where this person here said, this is Phenom, by the way. I believe he's the Twitch streamer or a Street Fighter player. He said, now that TwitchCon is over, I will give a couple of thoughts. Keep in mind, this was my first TwitchCon. Security, holy F, non-existent. Number two, the amount of incel freak stuff towards women I've seen this week is effing ridiculous. I promise you, if you just be a normal person, women would like you more. And IRL streaming, specifically talking about the clip farmers. This stuff is so corny and unethical as fuck. IRL streaming is good and he has brought a lot of good, but you can see how it can be easily ruined with this shift that's streaming happening. Yeah, there's a new shift that's going on where kids want to go viral with clips and they're bringing their cameras and they're saying crazy things. You got Jack Doherty's all over the place, mimics, Johnny Somalis. Everyone's seeking validation, attention so they can be a part of the next clip farm and be the next big streamer for being absolutely crazy. They're seeing this stuff and they're seeing this attention. They're trying to replicate it, and it's becoming a place where it's becoming infested with IRL streamers trying to create some kind of gotcha moment, because that's the new meta right now when it comes to Twitch. Taylor Lorenz quote retweeted this person and said, "You guys all need to start living in reality." Again, I really wish I could talk to Taylor Lorenz. I really wish I could talk to her one-on-one. It could be private or it could be public. But she has this thing where she keeps calling people, like, she keeps questioning people's intelligence. She keeps calling people and questioning their mental health. It's the same thing I was talking about with Hasan, and I can't stand it because it is such a huge deflection. I do not like it. I'm not a huge fan of this. Start living in reality. That you're basically calling them crazy. And I don't like that whatsoever. I think she's wondering why people feel the way that they feel about her. And I feel like using rhetoric like this is adding more fuel to the fire. And I don't know if she's self-aware of it or if she is and she does not care or she truly believes it. But I don't know if she recognizes the hypocrisy of saying and questioning other people's mental health. And then when people do the same to her, okay, the same tactics, then she feels like she's being harassed or assaulted or nullified. And she's the victim at this point. She has to understand that what she's doing, this way of speaking, is not healthy when it comes to reporting news. It's simply false to say that the security at TwitchCon was non-existent. Okay. Did not mean non-existent as there was zero. Okay, we understand tone. We understand that it didn't mean zero. He was basically saying that it does not feel like there was much security there. It is not saying it literally. So now you're kind of arguing semantic over words that are not actually being used in the way that you know that they're being used. When it was so insanely strict that journalists couldn't even do their jobs and disabled people were forced to remove their mask. I'm making a longer video on this. Now, this is true. I heard that when it came to the security of TwitchCon, there were people out here who were literally removing the mask of like VTubers. So when they were doing their job successfully, they were literally making people who came in who wanted to be anonymous. All right. They wanted to cover their face. There's a lot of anonymous people who stream at TwitchCon and want their face to be seen. And they said, we need you to. So security appeared and did their job in a way where people were getting exposed in ways they didn't want to get exposed. And then when it came to the most important things, Come on, man. Come on. Anyway, I think her full interview with Dan Clancy is supposed to be dropping this evening. Okay. So if you guys want to watch it with me, twitch.tv/Inferno Omni again. Okay. Hit the follow button in the link description below. Again, come hang out with me live because I'm very curious. I'm very invested in this. You guys see how invested I'm frustrated and I'm annoyed. I'm a little peeved. Because again, this is something that I feel like is taking accountability off of Twitch, which then is lessening the grip of the reality of what's happened to Emmy and then what's also happening with women. And she says that she is fighting for women and she's talking about it, but she's talking about another topic that is going to make Twitch be able to be like, yeah, you guys see that? It's not about us. It's about the misogyny around the world. And I don't like that narrative. I don't agree with that one. I don't sit with it. I need to find out more what's going to happen with Dan Clancy's response. I forgot to add to this as well, but M3 Arcade Crash said TwitchCon staff throwing out all the gifts that fans and VTubers brought for Iron Mouse and other creators. Definitely not a good look for Twitch, especially at the Emerald stuff too as well. So I've been seeing multiple people, VTubers and content creators who had meet and greets, who came to drop off their stuff for the fans, like the homies, like the VTubers who didn't come to the event physically, or some of the people who were there, and seen multiple posts that said, I deeply apologize to all the VTubers and the fans who had meet and greets at the VTuber booth this year. It breaks my heart to know staff threw out all of the gifts. I should have known better than to trust them and taken care of everything ahead of time. I am so sorry, everyone. So again, this is incompetence, bro. You want to call it incompetent security? Do you want to call it incompetent protocols? I want to know, is there another defense of Twitch's like incompetence, bro? But imagine you are a homie who wants to come and see a VTuber and you make a gift and you present them as presents and now you got a collection of gifts there. What do you mean TwitchCon just threw away everybody's custom-made gifts? What do you mean? Zanz's D-Blade said, Ludwig finally regaining his spine. This one is again, a continuation of Collargate, which, as you guys know, I've pretty much, again, as of our last video, I came to my hypothesis and conclusion after looking at all of these clips, especially the one that I saw last time, that yes, Hasan is zapping his dog, okay? Right, that one, I believe, again, I think I told you guys, I said, I believe that Hasan is lying to us. I think he told a fib. I think he's worried about the backlash. I feel like he's been hiding this remote nonstop and that there's every clip. He's doing it, okay? So I don't think he's being very, I think he's being disingenuous and not telling us the truth. And then I think the day after, or maybe the same day, Ludwig started streaming and he had to kind of, well, he talked about the situation with him and Hasan. If you guys don't know, this is Ludwig. Ludwig is also, he's Cutie Cinderella's boyfriend. I can't remember if they're engaged or not, but yeah, they're top streamer. He's been doing it for a really long time. Okay. Talks about games and stuff and goes out and plays. He does a lot of different types of content, hosts a lot of events. He's been in the space for a long time. He got connected to it because Cutie Cinderella got connected to it because she talked about the collar. It says she saw the tape, which then made a lot of the information confusing because nothing was matching up. Okay. With Taylor Lorenz's testimony and all the other people were like, the story keeps on changing. But Ludwig got dragged to this because if you guys don't know, Ludwig has, again, like I said, a channel called Mogul Mail, which he used. He might bring it back, I think. But he basically talked about Hasan a few times, and I think he took a video down or he took some things off because people were suggesting that Hasan called him and was like, hey, I don't like this, bro. And then ever since then, people felt like Ludwig, the online, community was like, yeah, Ludwig is on Hasan's leash. That's been the meme that's been going on for years and years. I'm guessing Ludwig got tired of it and wanted to put to a rest, and he basically hit I'm Not Your Friend Part 2. He made a video a long time ago saying I'm not your friend, as in my fans. He said, my fans, you're not my friends, okay? So don't have that kind of parasocial relationship with me. He was talking about parasocial. But now he just made Electric Boogaloo, I'm Not Your Friends, talking about the majority of his streamer people that he collabs with are also not his friend. In fact, I believe he communicated and said something to the extent that he doesn't even communicate with Hasan, and if he retired from streaming, he would also just never talk to him again.
Do I think Hasan shocked his dog? I have no fucking clue. I think he lied about having a shock collar. I think he 100% had a shock collar based off what's on my For You page. Maybe I'm getting psyoped. He's adamant that he hasn't shocked her. But that 100% is a shock collar, as a fact.
So he's saying he doesn't know if Hasan shocked the dog. but he 100% believes that it is a shock collar. Okay. I think the only difference is that I don't know if it's a shock collar or a vibration collar. I don't know which one it is. He's saying 100% is, but I feel like Mans has been reaching on that table and pressing that button. Whichever one, whatever type of collar is, Mans was not reaching for. I keep saying the word wrong. The zims or the zims or the hymns or whatever. I can't say no word right, but he keeps reaching and he pressing that button. And I feel based on using my eyes and then looking at Kaya, I think that's what's occurring.
I feel like that shit is 100% a shot caller, but I got no clue. And I think when you come in and you say, "Oh no, you're gonna get the Hasan call now," I think like you are, like genuinely pathetic. Like you are still pretending to live in a universe where it is, like brave to speak out against Hasan, as if that is not like the popular side to be on. It truly, I think, is pathetic.
You know, it's interesting. Again, before all of this, I haven't been paying attention to Hasan and the orbiters. Only time I've been talking about Hasan was Ethan versus Hasan, right? But I'd never really paid attention too much to what is going on and the antics and the factions and whatnot. So I never knew what was the popular side to be on. But it does feel like after Collargate, there has seemed to have been a swing in terms of a lot of people. When you bring an animal into the situation, that can usually change a lot of things. That's a very big swing. But yeah, as you guys know, when I was looking at this situation, all right, I was not trying to take any sides, just kind of looking at things as sus. And I was like, this is weird. This is weird. Benefit of the doubt here. I'll continue to wait for information. And every step along the line where I felt like Hasan could have obviously just kind of proven his innocence in some kind of way, right? It's not a shot collar. Bam. Here it is. Boom, 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 boom. You know, Moist Critical will agree with me saying the same thing as well. Here it is. You guys, it's just a regular collar. So the absence of not doing that is, in my opinion, just kind of sus. And then seeing him push this thing out of the way all the time and all these extra clips and people been like, Omni, this is a psyop. Everything is out of context. Okay. It kind of sus and weird, in my opinion. But anyway, I think that he's been pressing the button to keep Kaya over in the corner. Ludwig also has a clip here where he basically is communicating that he does not want to be involved in this freaking streamer drama. He doesn't want to be in the middle of it. He's not interested in it. All right, he does so much other types of content. I think he might acknowledge that the Muggle Mill channel probably, helped him to kind of get into it. But he's trying to communicate to people what the actual narrative is and not the narrative that people are spinning. And again, it's this electric boogaloo. I am not your friend, okay? I don't really hang out with all these streamers offline and only consider a very small group of them my actual people that I consider close to. But he has his own IRL friends, mostly, I think, Slime and the people that he talks to on his podcast.
Now, to be clear, I want no beef with anyone. Hasan's community, Asm's community, Destiny's community. The last time I did, I think Destiny wished death upon Slime and the rest of the podcast. If what I said offended you, I apologize deeply. I am Chinese now. I'm leaving Twitch and YouTube anyway for Billy. Seriously, I'll be out of your hair soon.
So yeah, Ludwig is saying, I don't want the smoke. Same energy as me, bro. I am not interested in joining any of the armies here. The Hasan army, the Asmongold. I am not interested, bro. I have no freaking enemies, okay? Zero. Well, two of them. Again, I keep saying the black dude who dances too hard and too fast while eating food and Johnny Somali. But otherwise, nah, man. No enemies and no beef. And Ludwig is basically saying, I'm not even trying to get in this smoke. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm trying to clear the accusations and make it very clear what it is that I actually feel. Here's another clip that has to do with Ludwig. Okay, Ludwig is basically trying to clear his name, and XQC basically saying that he feels kind of guilty because he was spreading misinformation about Ludwig.
Because Ludwig was actually, he's just kind of mad at me that I was spreading false information, and I feel bad about that. Because he said that, oh, now I feel like I have to say it now, because whatever. He hasn't really been hanging out or talking to Hasan for the longest time. Like, so the whole take that I had, that like, oh, Ludwig's not approaching the topic at all, right? Because it's his best friend. They haven't been talking. Maybe some drama, probably not. Maybe just whatever. But and I believe him. Ludwig doesn't lie to me. The minute Ludwig ever lies to me, ever, like anybody else, then they're in my
Shitless.
in my head, in the bad zone, the zone you don't want to be in. Like, don't lie to me.
So he's saying, so, okay, again, the narrative and the story that a lot of people have been pushing is that like all of these LA creators just all hang out and they all stream together. And then after the camera's cut off, they all hang together and shit on the normies and just like, look at all these normies as we take over Hollywood. And there's this conglomerate of just LA streamers that, right? There's a social network, which I'm pretty sure there is some type of social network that probably exists. It's definitely like high school vibes, okay, with certain people as well. But when it comes to high school vibes, right, there's also people who are looking from the outside in, trying to create a narration or a picture that makes sense to them based on the interactions they see with the streams. And Ludwig's trying to let you guys, I'm trying to separate reality from fiction, like streaming from the real world, and just don't. I get that it might look like it overlaps, but to set the record clear, okay, that's a very important distinction. And XQC taking a step back to correct himself on that when it comes to misinformation, which now leads to me also making a correction from my last video on Monday. Just a quick correction. You may or may not remember this clip that I showed you guys from the last video where Hasan was basically having like this breakdown. He was basically going down the black pill nihilism and was essentially saying that you can't stand anybody, the left, the right, the socialists, blah, 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 blah. In this breakdown, I thought that the subscriber that he was talking to for the 40-month badge was essentially, you know, giving him flack for the whole Kaya thing, okay? That's not what the case was. This person was not referring to the Kaya situation. His response was actually having to do with the 40-month subscriber person who was still trying to hold him accountable for things and views that he had back in 2013. Okay? His political views had nothing to do with Kaya in this specific retrospect. So I took out 30 seconds of the clip where I said it had to do with Kaya. However, I left the rest of the clip, which I did not say anything with doing with Kaya, because my criticism and review of Hasan when it came to this breakdown in this clip was that Hasan has this thing where he again blames other people for his emotions and his reactions, and it's a constant shift. And Gang has a very difficult time, I think, taking criticism and looking at himself without blowing a casket. I think my man's got some anger issues, bro. For real, bro. And I hope he's seeing like a therapist, man, because I think it's in his business. Because I'm seeing a therapist, right? I'm not saying this in a way like seeing a therapist is a bad thing, but I hope that he's seeing a therapist, because when you're in the YouTube space and the Twitch space and you're just center of this attention or something, bro, mental health is getting jammed. This is at your baseline before you even get checked. Okay, so. Anyway, yeah, just making that correction as well. It wasn't had to do with Kaya, but everything else about the clip still stands, and that is my criticism on Hasan and his ability to kind of not take criticism while also deflecting to other people. Couple of one-offs, really quick ones, okay? Will Phoenix said the construction has begun for Trump's ballroom. This is the White House. It's getting absolutely torn down, demolishing. A lot of people are upset to see this historic building that has years and years and years and years of history in it getting destroyed to make room for the East Wing, aka President Trump's ballroom. Which I think is going to cost like millions and millions of dollars, bro. And yeah, a lot of people are looking at this image and the images of the White House and be like, I cannot believe Mans is absolutely destroying the White House. It reads here on October 20th, 2025, which is what day? I think 1 day ago, 2 days ago, but yeah. But demolition crews began dismantling the East Wing facade of the White House to construct a 90,000 square foot ballroom funded by private donors, including President Donald Trump and corporations for hosting large state events. Okay, so not funded by taxpayer dollars, funded by private donors and Donald Trump himself. My man said he got all the rich people to fund and put money in the White House, bro. I'm telling you, man, I keep telling y'all, it's rich versus poor. It's rich versus poor, bro. Y'all need to listen. Lock in. The project advances without taxpayer funds amid a federal government shutdown since October 1st, which endangered programs like SNAP. And WSC benefits from millions. Again, I think we'll talk about this as well, but I've heard that food stamps are currently being put at risk and may be shut down. Critics, including Hillary Clinton and Gavin Newsom, condemned the alterations of the historic 1942 East Wing as destructive, while supporters highlight presidents like FDR and Truman. But dang, bro. So here's Gavin Newsom saying Donald Trump doesn't want you to see this picture. He's literally destroying the White House. The White House is asking people not to share pictures of the East Wing because it's even worse today. Good Lord, good Lord. Gavin Newsom also saying ripping apart the White House just like he's ripping apart the Constitution. There's another side, a group of people saying that like, yeah, this is just what Donald Trump is doing and other people would have done something at some point in time. Some people pointing out to Bill Clinton. He was like, well, you was in there getting that good stuff while you was in the White House, bro. So So a lot of people trying to defend Donald Trump's actions here as well. Feels a little weird to me. I think it's like a culmination of the Trump administration, that this just feels kind of like, if it was just like a regular president and then this happened, I don't think anybody would be like thinking too hard on it. There'd still be some issues, right? Like it'd definitely be issues if it was Obama, but like it wouldn't be too much. But I think in culmination of everything else that's been happening in the Trump administration, okay, dismantling and destroying seems to be on par for the course of what he's doing. So it's having even greater I would say affliction to the eyes of the people than most. Another update, bro, in anime news, man, this is wild. One Punch Man. I'm sure even normies who don't even watch anime have seen this bald guy at the top. One Punch. He's a dude. He's an anime. He beats you with one punch. One of the strongest people in the world. People even say that he might be able to be Goku and all these other dudes, whatever, Superman and everything. It's One Punch Man. Well, apparently season 3 came out and people are big baby rage sad and mad because the animation looks like shit, which I can't confirm or deny yet. I keep seeing this clip of this guy sliding down a hill, right? But like it's PNG. It's like a still image. And the image shows him sliding down the hill as opposed to actually stepping, like taking. I'm like, please, God, don't make that. I hope that's just a meme. I hope that's misinformation. Anyway, Nicholas, and a lot of you guys asked me to talk about this and said, hey, Omni, hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Thanks for asking. One Punch Man Season 3 director closed his Twitter due to harassment. The fandom is going nuts and the studio is struggling due to their set conditions and resources. So I'm trying to understand, why does the studio for One Punch Man, why are they struggling with conditions and resources? One Punch Man, okay, should be up there in the leagues, in my opinion, should be up there in the leagues with Demon Slayer and all of like Mappa and all of this other stuff. What do you mean they don't have enough money, homie, to make one of the most iconic, most popular animes of all time goated for people to watch? I do not get why that's occurring. I was trying to look into it, but this is making a lot of people upset because like, I'm almost at the place where I don't even want to watch it because I'm worried about what they did to my poor baby, to my poor thing, man. Oh my Lord. It looks like Grok has us covered again. One Punch Man Season 3 launches after 6-year hiatus amid animation criticism. It's been 6 years that we've been waiting, bro. So again, premiered on October 12th, adapting the Monster Association arc with Saitama's battles, produced by JC Staff and available on Hulu and Crunchyroll. Fans criticized episodes 1 and 2 for the static frames and uneven pacing, including a mocked grassy hill slide, though some praised episode 2's action and comedy. Director Shinpei Nagai expressed sadness over the backlash and called for no staff harassment, while veteran animator Yuha Takahashi defended the studio, citing industry challenges. Please tell me this man is not sliding. This is the slide. This is the infamous slide, bro.
I can't play too much of it, we'll get copyright striked, okay? It says knock it off. It's real. It's real? Oh, wallahi. Oh. Not like this, not like this, not like this. No, man. It's a still image. Just.
What happened? What happened? What happened, bro? Anyway, it looks like the guy that had the Twitter account, he was getting so much harassment. He made this tweet and he said, I have some rather unfortunate news. There are a few people among my followers who are pretending to be allies, but are actually engaging in rage baiting, so I decided to delete my account. Their actions, such as taking my statements out of context, trying to elicit comments and violate NDAs, or turning them into profit, are unacceptable and cannot be overlooked. I've always done my best for the fans with utmost sincerity, but I've come to the conclusion that continuing this environment is untenable for this project. It's always the genuine fans who end up suffering the most. I cannot forgive those who tarnish the staff's honor or exploit the struggles of the creators for profit, through hate. Therefore, I will also be deleting Shinpei Nagai's account entirely. I will not create any accounts in the future either. I cannot overlook actions that degrade the work itself, so I ask for your understanding. Honestly, this is taking a toll on my mental health. It only brings negatives to the work, the staff, and the original creators. Yeah, so from what I understand, manga artists, bro, are already stressed the hell out. There's been so many videos and talks. We're talking about how these guys get like pretty much overworked, man. Even your boy from Studio Ghibli talks about how he works day in and day night, man. These guys get really obsessed with their job, and they put in a lot of freaking hours, and sometimes they're under time crunches as well. I'm hoping the show makes a comeback or a turnaround or something with the animation, but a lot of people are saying it's irredeemable at this point. They said, to the fans who have been truly kind to me, I want to express my gratitude and apologies. It was truly enjoyable. I feel bad, but I also think it's a good idea to get off Twitter. Just go. All right. Twitter is a mixed bag because like it's so crazy that sometimes you'll just be like, what the hell? What? You will see some of the craziest, funniest things on here, and then it'll be boobs, and then it'll be racism, and then it'll be someone dying, and then it'll be more racism, and then it'll be someone dying, and then more hateful rhetoric, and then Nazi salutes and all this other stuff, right? And then something really funny again. So you get like a mixed bag of Skittles where, is it marshmallow flavored or is it death flavored marshmallow? Like, it's not too healthy out here. I do think though the criticism that's been happening with One Punch Man is legit. I just unfortunate that it's also turning into maybe a hate campaign, but we saw what happened with Sonic. Remember Sonic the Hedgehog? Remember? I remember this dude. Y'all remember this? This was the old Sonic design. Okay. Then we bullied them, and upon bullying, we got this one. Now, I don't know if I believe in conspiracy theories. This one might be one I might subscribe to. Okay, entertain me for a little bit, but like, what if part of the marketing was to make a very terrible looking Sonic, right? And people would be like, this is the worst. Just bring up, everyone was talking about this Sonic. It was the worst. But what if it was a marketing campaign? They already had this one in the back in the filler, and they did a whole switcheroo and said, all right, fans, we've heard what you said. We've turned your Sonic into this ugly looking demon, and now we're making him look cute because we love you guys and we're listening to you. And shebang! And then we're all going to watch Glory. I don't know. But if it wasn't a marketing mistake, it was basically the best marketing mistake that they've ever made, because the glow up of Sonic, in my opinion, this was the thing that propelled the Sonic franchise all the way to the top. This was literally where it became, everything started to go in Sonic's favor, and still is. Sonic fans are eating for the past years since this thing dropped, and I'm very happy for them. All right, guys, that's all for today's video. I have more things to talk about, okay? We're going to talk about it again on twitch.tv/InfernoOmni. Come hang out with me tonight, this evening, EST, okay? Right after you're done with this video, go into the description below, hit the follow button, hit the notification, and come hang with me, or there will be consequences, okay? We watched the whole Taylor Lorenz interview, hopefully if it drops, and otherwise we'll just be yapping for the entire evening. I just want to talk to you guys more live because it's fun, and I can do things that I can't do on YouTube because YouTube has all these restrictions, which, yeah. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll catch you later. Take it easy. Be safe on these streets because these streets aren't safe, and you'll probably catch a video from me either tomorrow or Friday or something. It'll happen what'll happen. I love you guys. Y'all take it easy. Peace.